Wow, I guess it's actually too late to not do this right now. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kai King. I am a senior from North Carolina Central University out in the United States, and I study business, I live life, and try to make the most of what I can. I want to give a shout out right now to the best group out of UIF here, the Phoenix group. And let me start this with a quick question. So, how many of you have ever doubted yourselves? Just raise your hands. I could raise both of them for that. So, we're all in the right room here for that because today I'm going to take you on a journey about my life, or as I call it, King's Road, which is about self-doubt, insecurity, and moments that honestly feel like chaos to me. But most importantly, I want to tell you how those moments have already impacted my life and how they might help you navigate through them as well. So let me start with this. I'm not going to give you a quick get-rich scheme or mindset that'll help you conquer your failures. What I'm going to do is actually say this. If I had that formula, I wouldn't be here today. I'd be on a beach sipping a Mai Tai right now. But I can share how I dealt with the failure. So let me ask you another quick question. How many of you think that life is like a marathon right now? Okay. How many of you think it's actually like a sprint instead? I see you back there. See? Well, I actually think it's a mix of both. See, where I come from, I do wrestling. And wrestling is more of a 5 to 7 minute match where it's short, it's intense. You got 3 periods of 2 minutes, 30 seconds in between, and it's painful, it's suffering, and you have to go all over and over again. And normally you have a tournament of it, and it's multiple matches in a row. So when it comes down to the boiling of it, a match is kind of like a Ignite, which is a short, painful presentation, but it's also, at the same time, a tournament, which is like life. You have a whole marathon through it, and you have small matches in between, or short sprints that you have to get through, almost like a challenge to level up each time. So that's kind of what this whole thing is about here. But why is it even important? Well, I'm going to give you a question in response to that. Have you ever lost something that defined you? Well, for me, that was actually wrestling. See, I am someone who wrestled for 20 plus years. It's impacted me in ways that I can never even count. It's brought me all over the world. I've wrestled people all over the world. Iranians, Russians, and so forth. And it's just part of my story. I started it when I was a little kid, all the way till going through college with it. I pushed myself to the limits. I've done things people never thought of. I have scars still to prove it to this day, surgeries that still have metal inside of me from them. But then I had to make a choice. I walked away from it. Damn right, it felt horrible doing that, and that moment is something that I still feel right now. It affected me so much that I couldn't deal with the fact that I couldn't answer one simple question. Who am I now? Well, that leads me to the next point, the pivot. Let me start with this. Not that whole. The response to that question forced me to rebuild completely from scratch. So I had to start with building my own pivot table from ground zero. And rebuilding is very, very uncomfortable, I found out. I came from a place where only the best is expected of me. My dad has a common saying that I hear day in and day out to this day, even while I'm finishing my degree. If I come home with a 97 on an exam, the first statement I'll hear is, where's the other 3%? That perfectionism is what drove me to failure, but it also is what made me so good at wrestling. I would be so paranoid and driven over chasing the best thing possible and trying to be as good as possible that I would finally critique every little detail of what I did. I couldn't really find that perfect moment. Mentally, I struggled under that weight. I couldn't really count the amount of times where I'd be in a shower after a match or a practice, and I'd look back at it and be like, oh, I could have done better here. I could have done more there. Why did I mess up here? I know some people might feel that, and they might say, hey, I have those issues. I constantly think back to when I messed up, and it sucks. It really does. But that's where I finally let go of that paralyzing fear of failure and try to make my need to be better into a new point. That's where I began to learn. Rebuilding isn't about quitting. It's about pivoting, just like in the pivot table. I had to accept mentally that I wasn't losing, I was redirecting. I wasn't gonna let myself sit and replace my habits of before with things that I didn't need. I was gonna let it grow and be part of who I newly wanted to turn into. I was gonna let go of who I thought I had to be and become a better version of myself now. I was gonna learn to not doubt myself and accept who I am today. In doing this, it made me ask myself, am I quitting or am I evolving? So now, what do I need to do? I have to learn that it's time to pivot, and now you guys are gonna be able to as well. Most people ignore the signals, but over time, I began to learn mine. If I felt stuck, if I feel like I'm stagnating or not able to do something, or I even feel gray in a sense, I realize, hey, I'm stuck here. I need a change. It's time for me to do a pivot. It's what this everything is about. Once I knew that, I knew it was going to be easy for me to figure out I needed a change. So one of the hardest things I've ever had to do is redefine my worth. Because I always thought, if I'm not a wrestler, then who am I? My struggle stems from being hypercritical of everything that I do. And some of you may relate to that in the past, and some of you in your seats right now may relate to it as well. Many of you are learning that right now, pivoting is going to be the way to really grow in life. And for me, learning how to pivot and face the challenges that I have is just what I needed, and some of you might need as well. Who I am today is someone who redefined themselves into a person who's okay not being perfect and can handle the thought of failure. It might make my path much harder, but I've come to accept that challenge. So in closing, I'm going to leave you with this. I used to feel like my life had been a series of failures and pivots, and somehow it has led me somewhere meaningful. And to loop back to the questions at the beginning, if it's a marathon that you think life is, then now you see that there's sprints laid alongside the whole race. And if you think that it's a sprint, then maybe you can see the actual distance now and pace yourself for the task ahead. So what if I was looking at this all wrong? This isn't about failure, it's about not pivoting. Maybe I'm staying stuck in my ways right now. So as you walk your own version of King's Road, ask yourself this: how might we turn the feeling of failure into life-saving pivots? Thank you. I was struggling not to.